Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices, and starting with the German mid-cap here, we're looking at wave 3 over here, an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 4, and from B to C we're looking for 5 waves down here in terms of 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third. The fourth wave pulling back to the fourth wave of 1 lesser degree here, the high, or the 38.2% retracement level, which is the lower end of the rectangle here. So it's in that space there where it can move down from that point. We wouldn't turn long on this market unless we had support on top of the closest largest number, which would be the 25 here, and we're far from that. And also too, we need to be mindful that wave 4 can get a little bit complicated, but yeah, it has reached its length to the upside. One of the other markets that we were looking at that had a nice clean wave count to the downside out of all the European markets was the AEX, and that is 1 and 2 in blue here, and then five waves down here for wave 3, and back for wave 4, and down for wave 5. So when we look at this here, coming into the 4-hour chart, we're looking for an A and a B and a C to come back to the 38.2% retracement level. So it can move a little bit higher there, but there is a count here that that could have it complete as an A wave and a B wave here, and 1 and 2 here, and all the way up here for third wave and a fourth wave and a fifth wave to this point here. If I've made a mistake here, we can have one more high here, and I'd have to reinvestigate this little space in this point here. But I want to go to the DAX because the DAX will have the main count coming into play. So first of all, on the daily chart here, it is possible to have a low in place here, okay? But we are looking at it. So just, we don't need to go into this just yet, but the count that we're tracking at the moment is with this over here, and wave 3 here, wave 4 here, like this, and having this as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 in here, coming back to 38.2% and coming down from that point. But either way, on the lows here, we really need to be mindful of the pattern that emerges off this low there. Is it corrective or is it impulse? On the 4-hour chart, it will just give us a bit of direction in terms of distance that we need to cover in terms of the 38.2%. So we're there already with this. The other interesting point here too is the trading levels, and this 11,500 is what we call a medium level, and as you can see, it is finding it as resistance at this stage. It doesn't mean that, it could still do possibly anything, but we wouldn't trade long unless we had that level there as support, because if it's going to fail, this is where it's going to fail from. So yeah, let's just go into the hourly chart here. And in this case here, we can look from wave 3 here. We look at this as the A wave here, the B wave here, and then the C wave up into this space here. It's a little bit difficult to count here, but if we go over to the cash market, just got a snapshot of the physical market here. The A and the B is okay, so it's really this leg here. So 1 and 2 and 3 to here, or even 3 to here and 4. Either way, we're still left with this one here. So it does appear that this last leg here is actually completed. So this leg up through here can be completed in 5 waves. So realistically, if you were long now through here, you would exit at the 11,500. So in this case here, we can copy this. If that high there is breached, we can go long. You could probably get a better entry than that, but still you would need to wait. If this dropped here and then picked back up here, you'd still need to wait for that to sit on there and then go at a lower point here, okay? So you can get a better entry than that. It's just a guide stick. So really on the lower side here, if we go to the tick chart here, up here rather, let's just have a look at this here. So really we've got the 11,500 here. The market is struggling to, it was struggling at this point really, isn't it? So the point here is going short now. So if I just go back to the hourly chart here, so in a way we could look to go short here if I can copy this and put that You can get a better entry than that too. Okay, but I'm just pointing that out here. So you could go short here. You could get trapped. So what I want to mention here is that if you have because we're trading against the trend, but the setup is here, the market could just be corrective as an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here, and then move up from here. So you could get trapped with the bounce off the 400 here where the support is. So if you took if you normally trade 10 contracts, well then just trade 2 contracts here and then look to add under this level here. Or you could trade 4 contracts down and take 2 off at the 400 or something like that. But depends on how you scalp basically. So yeah, you would add to the short position if the 400 became the retested resistance, and the retested resistance is exactly the same as this. Market moves through, go back, retest it, fail, and take the lows out here. You can get a better position. You could probably go up under this low here for that as well. But yeah, somewhere in amongst those two there. So that's what we're looking at. I mean, yeah, and if it finds support, the 11,500 is the line in the sand. And moving on to the UK here. The same here. I just need to update this a little bit from last time. So just clear these up here. But as you can see, we're pretty much finished here as well. So this wave 4 was here. This wave 5 can be here and here and here. So it counts nicely as an A and a B, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the C wave here, all finished. So you really need to be out of this. So on our short trade here, we can look at that here to the downside. So really here, once again, if this is going to obviously bounce off here, which it has, and then it moves through here, then it retests here, and then it goes down from here. So really you need, it's not so much this low that's important, it's that low in there if you can find it. Because the thing is, if you find that low there, it comes down, like quite a lot of the time, the market will just go straight back up from that point. And so you're kept safe. That's the main point, because taking the low out or taking a high out, the market's proving to you that it's strong enough to move through those orders that are holding that market at that price point, and to move through that, and you'll be swept up on that wave and headed off in the right direction. So it's probably not the best setup in the world in terms of return, but it's certainly one of the safer ones at that point. So yeah, picking tops and bottoms is a dangerous business, but in terms of Elliott, we do have an A and a B and a C wave at this point. So that being the case, we can copy that. If this high is breached to the long side, you can go with that, because obviously then I've made a mistake here. Or you can even bring it down to this one here at this stage. You could probably even bring it down to this one, but because we'll be onto the opening, we don't want to be spiked around, we'll just leave it there. Because the move up here could be wave 1 and 2 here, and the third wave here, fourth wave pulling back to this fourth wave, and then up again from here. So that's why we need to be a little bit careful. So it's not a point where you want to overtrade from that. There's plenty of space. If this does drop down through here, then obviously look to add to positions there as well. And certainly once we get under the 7,000, we can add more there as well. So you really want to be adding 3 or 4 times into the initial beginning of the trend, to catch the center of the trend, and then start weeding the stocks, weeding the positions out as you're coming lower. And this would be our target down here, the 6.8, if that's the case. The MIB, the Italian MIB, it's a tricky little market to count this. I can never do it well. So if anybody's got any other counts out there, that would be fantastic. But all I can do is kind of compare it to the other markets. I mean, I was expecting it to move, higher into this, up into this space here, but it's really struggling to move up here. But at the same time, these moves up here, this first move here is impulsive. So these are impulsive waves here, and it could collapse from this point here, of course. It just hasn't moved up as far as the other markets have. So, like I mentioned, this is an impulse wave here. This is an impulse wave here. This looks like I'm not quite sure about this. I can get an impulse wave out of it, but I could also get a corrective wave out of it. So I'm unsure there. The thing is here is that from here to here, the 61.8% is here. So this is the closest, largest number. So you really don't want to go shorting above that number, right? You'd be looking for long trades there. So if this top gets taken out, one of these tops get taken out here, by all means go long from that point. If it does drop from here and it looks like the other markets are moving to the downside, well then wait for this one here, not right on 1 point below the low here, and also take into consideration what numbers you're looking at over here as well with all of that. And then move down from here. So it's really a case of going long or short from this point here. I don't understand the wave count. This is the 50-60% retracement level here. So this is where the market can also find support here too at the 18,600 area here. So be mindful of that, but be prepared to trade in both directions. Be open. Don't get fixed on something unless you're sure. But yeah, otherwise we're just trading setups, and the setup is using the closest largest number as support for long trades and resistance for short trades. All right, thanks for tuning in. I just want to have a look at, France before I go. So in this case, we could call the low in because I could count 5 waves down to this point. So I don't see a fourth wave here. So that's the same as the other alternative I got on the DAX as well here. So let's just see how this is going along. Yeah, so it looks like it's the same patterns, the A wave, the B wave here, but it looks like there's space for one more little move to the upside here. Let me just have a little look at this here, see if I can just get my noggin around it. So this move, that move, and then this is definitely 1 and 2 here. There can be another move up, I think. Let me just have a little look for this. Okay, so that's the 38.2% retracement level at 50-50 here. Okay, so that 50-50 here, the midpoint as we call it in the trading levels, if that becomes the retested resistance, we've got a top in place for this. As simple as that. So the market can come down to that point there, so don't panic. So an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here, and then it can move up from that point there. I won't look at the cash. I mean, we haven't really been focused on this market. It was slowly getting into it, but I won't waste anybody's time. I don't know if anybody's even looking at this market, but I was just trying to really sort out, to bring in the French market or Spain or one of the Scandinavian countries or something, but I do want to add another one. So I might even just sort of bring a few of them in and not take up a lot of my time with a lot of detail on it, but just sort of bring them in and keep tabs on them, a little bit like we do with some of the Asian markets in the Asian indices as well. I need to pull it apart to have a look at it properly. But yeah, okay. Anyway, 550, and it's back down from that point. So getting a position on the short side here below 550, and looking to add under the 5,000 as resistance, and then we can come down probably to the 4,850 or even the 48 maybe. Alrighty. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the weekend. Cheers.